Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. It's the fourth game of a five-game series between India and England, the five T20 internationals. India leading 2-1, but England will be hoping that today in Pune, they can bring the series to a level and take it to a big cliffhanger, big decider on Sunday in Mumbai. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Zaheer Khan here. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
How's it going? Good to see you. And joining us from halfway across the world is Michael Vaughan. A change of location today. I think you've been shunted out of the living room into a little corner by the family. Is that true?
Yeah, I've been put in the naughty room. Just a bit of an observation, GK. Are you wearing double denim?
That's right, I am. Look at me. I am.
Shakin' Stevens. Do you remember Shakin' Stevens?
Yeah,
from the
I'm bringing
80s?
back 80s school. I'm bringing back 80s school. So the thing is that my dear friend Michael, he looks at me to stay up with the trends. So it's my duty to inform him that 80s school is back now. It is. So I want to see you wearing something that John Travolta wore in one of his movies, the next show on Sunday.
I might bring it for the second innings.
Okay. Today itself. That's excellent. I love it. I love when people over-deliver, which is what Michael is doing, which is what we do on Cricbuzz Live, and which is what England will be hoping to do today to bring the series to all level. India will be hoping to do that as well, because India will be hoping to over-deliver from what they did in Rajkot a few days ago, Zach.
They want to close the series, isn't it? You've had two good games. After that, the third one was a bit tricky one. So you don't want to now, the momentum shift right now in England's favour. You don't want to give them that chance of taking the series in the last game. So from India's point of view, it's important that you have that killer instinct and you close the series here.
Yeah. Michael, what do you think after seeing the last game, right? I mean, I know that after the second game and before the third game, we were talking about India outplaying England completely. But England will take a lot from that previous game and that win.
Yeah, they will. And let's be honest, after around 17 overs of the first innings, England were nowhere near in that game. And then suddenly they got a couple of partnerships down the back end. That 24-run partnership, the last wicket was a big sway in the game. And then they got the ball in hand and they were exceptional with their bowling. They obviously are going for this rocket approach of bowling quick, but it wasn't the pace that did for India. It was all the skilled bowlers, the kind of cutters that they were bowling. And Adil Rashid, that's 2 games on the trot now. Adil Rashid, who's moved to #1 bowler in the world in T20 cricket. India have to find a way of putting Adil Rashid under pressure. For him to have only gone for 29 in the last 8 overs and got 2 wickets in the last 2 T20 games with an Indian batting lineup, that's it's renowned for playing spin. Isn't quite good enough from an Indian perspective. But England with the ball in particular were exceptional in Rajkot.
What is Adil Rashid doing correct that is foxing the batter so much?
Well, he's got good variations. He's a big turner of the ball and not afraid of giving air to the ball. That's so important, to be courageous as a bowler, to be able to take the game on and challenge yourself as well, challenge the batters to play the big shot. In these conditions, you know that there will be some support. So that's how he has been operating. And very consistent. Last game also we've been talking about that middle phase of the game, that passage of play. It was dominated by Adil Rashid in that.
Yeah.
And England predominantly have been going with one spinner. So that spinner has to be consistent. That spinner has to be delivering all the time. And Adil Rashid has not disappointed in that department.
Yeah, he really is. When Michael started saying India have to figure out a way, I thought he was going to say India have to figure out a way to get Adil Rashid into the IPL, because that's been one shocker, right? We should have seen him a lot more in the, Premier T20 tournament, but we haven't. But anyway, today's challenge, which is India have to ride him out today. There has been a bit of a difference in the toss. England finally calling it correct. That's right. Jos Buttler got the coin toss coming his way. And no surprise, he has decided to chase. So I think captains are wanting to do this. But it's been 3 out of 3 for Surya with 2 successful chases and 1 not so. There are changes. There are changes for India. We had predicted, I think one of them we had predicted would be that Rinku Singh would come back because he was out for 2 games and he would come back. So Rinku Singh is back. And of course, World Cup winner Shivam Dube, he had been out of the side because of a niggle as well. So he's back. And Arshdeep is in for Shami. So Shami came in for 1 game. He's out. Arshdeep is back in. Highest wicket taker for India in T20. You know you want to play him. Interesting though, because Zach, India's approach is still 3 spinners and just the 1 main line quick in Arshdeep. And now, fair enough, Hardik's a proper new ball bowler.
You know, when you're looking at this playing 11 and when you talk about balance, whether this playing 11 is a well-rounded playing 11 or not, that question is going to be answered today.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time we are seeing this kind of a combination going to be put under pressure when they're bowling second. If there's due around, if the wicket is not supporting that much, usually that's the case. In the second innings, we've seen the spin assistance goes down. And that is going to be the real test for this playing 11, this bowling attack for sure.
Yeah.
And if they're able to deliver today, that will give everyone enough confidence. Otherwise, that one question mark is always there in a crucial game, and especially when you're looking at any team like this. You are always talking about the big ICC tournament, the World Cups, and where the knockout phase is so crucial. So on that day, are you going to be dependent on toss, or you have a well-rounded, balanced playing 11, which is going to give you that strength in any situation, any condition? So that's something which we have to wait and see today how it goes.
Michael, what do you make of Shami coming in for Arshdeep just for 1 game and now Arshdeep in for Shami?
Yeah, I mean, I guess India feel like this is their best lineup for these conditions. Mohammad Shami only bowled 3 overs, so he can't be tired. This is just a tactical manoeuvre. Arshdeep is obviously world class. They wanted to get him back into the side. Shivam Dube, I think, is a good addition, having that striker down there, that engine room that you require in T20 cricket. And in the first 2 games, this kind of formula worked really well for India. So I think they've gone back to what worked for them to go 2-0 up in the series. Look, T20 cricket, it's a game where, selection, little kind of scenario plays can be the big difference. But I think India will have got this right. I mean, Mohammad Shami is wonderful. He's magnificent. But I think tonight they've gone back to what they feel has been the formula that got them 2-0 up in the series. And they've gone back to that formula.
And Shivam Dube is a very good bet to negate the threat of Adil Rashid as well.
I think that's what the thought process is right now. But when you're looking at the overall balance, again, if Arshdeep was there and Shami alongside, it would have just given them the right kind of balance.
Yeah.
So that is something which they've missed a trick. Washington Sundar was contributing with the ball as well. So that support is not going to be there. So it's going to be very interesting. India is batting first. So if they get to a total which is above par total, then things can ease out. But if it's not the above par total or just about par, then it can get tricky.
Well, let's have a look at the England 11 now and see if they've made any changes going into this important game. Well, they made 2. So there is Jacob Bethel who comes in for Jamie Smith. We saw that in the last game. Bit of a niggle there. So he is out and Jacob Bethel comes back in. Remember, he played the first game before Jamie Smith took his position. And then there's Saqib Mahmood who comes in for Mark Wood. So Mark Wood perhaps being rested for this game. And Saqib Mahmood comes in. Well, Michael, you got to say what? It's happened a 4th game in a row. I'm not surprised, but I'm still surprised. And I'm surprised that I'm not surprised and not surprised that I'm surprised that both teams are sticking to... I mean, India is sticking to lots of spin.
Can you say that again?
Yes, I can. I can say that I am surprised and not surprised. I'm not surprised that I'm surprised and surprised that I'm not surprised about the fact that India is sticking with their 3.5 spin options, because remember, Abhishek bowls as well. And England is sticking with their 4 paces.
Yeah, I told you at the start of the series that Baz McCullum has his methods and he'll just stick by it. This is the formula that he believes is going to transcend England into a T20 force. They're obviously looking at the next T20 World Cup in Sri Lanka and India, and they feel that pace is going to be the way to go. I doubt that. I think they're going to need a spin option, like a real quality spin option to match Adil Rashid if they're going to go on to win that trophy. But Saqib Mahmood is a skillful bowler. He had a tremendous time of it with England just before Christmas in the Caribbean in white ball cricket. He's had so many injuries over the last few years. It's great to see him back. And I guess with Mark Wood, they've got to be very careful with Mark because he's not played a great deal of cricket and he's played 3 games. It's probably just a bit of a rotation. But what Saqib Mahmood will bring is plenty of skill. You know, we saw that in the last game in Rajkot. England's seamers were magnificent because they changed their pace and they were skillful, lots of cutters, pace on at the right times. And I think in Saqib Mahmood, he's got the ability to swing the ball either way, and he's got some really good slower ball options. So I actually like the change. I think it's a good move for England.
When you look at how England won the last game, I think, Michael's got a great point that, of course, the bowlers used the surface really well to their advantage because it was giving them something if they had the pace variations. But also, Zach, the utilization of the short ball by the England bowlers against the India batters, and it's been really successful.
That generally has been the trend, isn't it? You've been seeing in this format a lot of the bowlers they prefer bowling that 6 to 8 meter length at times as tactical advantage as well. Force the batters to play pull shot, and that's where the opportunity lies. So that is going to be no different today. As the series went along, they've kind of adjusted their lengths as well. I think the first game it was just too much of short bowling, but they found that balance of hitting the stumps as well. And that is going to be crucial. Otherwise, it becomes too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
From India's batting lineup, you've seen the wickets also have fallen to the short ball, especially Sanju Samson. He'll have to be careful today since India is batting first, so you've got to set the tone. But in terms of tactics from English bowlers, you will not see much different than what you've seen so far in the season.
Yeah.
A lot of short balls, using the variations, into the pitch, slower ones, and attacking the stumps is going to be the key.
We've got a fan question about that as well, because I like that you said quality pace, right? Because there was an inexperienced South Africa attack, and this, Prakit has pointed this out, saying we saw India excel in the T20Is against an inexperienced South African attack, and here against England having a hard time playing short deliveries. Is facing quality pace a concern? Michael, Zach just replied to it, so I'll let you take this.
Yeah, I do think it's an area that most teams will challenge this Indian batting lineup against the pace. I think, if you look at the numbers throughout the series, England have bought a lot of short stuff and it's brought them a lot of success. You look at someone like Sanju Samson, who's a terrific player, but there is an area that you can target him, and that's with short pitch bowling. He's got out a few times to the short stuff, and England aren't going to change. They're bowling first tonight in Pune, and they'll challenge the Indian players with plenty of rockets, plenty of kind of short stuff. I don't think it's the surface in Pune where the slow balls generally have that much effect. It almost skids on. It's a wonderful place to bat. So England will be bowling plenty of short stuff. The numbers don't lie. So it's really a whereabouts of how India can play it that little bit better. They know it's going to come. So you'd have thought in practice that have been challenging themselves with the wangers, those dog throwers that they use these days, to try and give themselves a better chance of being able to not survive, because survival in T20 cricket is not really the word. It's how you're going to contribute in terms of scoring runs against that short stuff. So a lot of work for a lot of the Indian top order to do against the short stuff.
What did you call it, Michael? A wanger?
A wanger. The dog thrower that they use in the net.
Okay. Sorry, I heard something else. I heard something else, so that's why I just thought I'd clarify that with you. All right, looking at Tilak Varma, I definitely want to talk about him because he's a guy who's had a meteoric rise. What is he? He's 22 and something. He's already shot his way up on the T20I rankings. I think he's reached number 2 now, and fully deserved. This is something that I heard Rohit Sharma say about Tilak, and he said that before about Surya. And there's one thing about Rohit, he's a good jeweler, right? He figures out diamonds in the rough. And he said that about Tilak, a young player, saying, I see him being a 3-format player, which is, high praise. This was a couple of seasons ago. But just his growth that you've seen, the way he's handling it, his temperament. We all know you're playing at that level, you have the talent. Something that strikes you is his temperament, perhaps?
Well, the drive is there. He's a keen learner, and that is something which we've seen right from the under 19 days. So under 19 year, he was very good, very consistent. But after that, when you transition to the first class and a tournament like IPL, you got to be able to do those fine adjustments. You got to be ready. You got to learn quickly and adapt your game to what is the requirement at that level. So you got to be able to fit everything together nicely, and for that you got to have that kind of a lookout, where you have conversations with enough people, understand what it takes, understand new methods, and then implement them in your game. And Tilak Varma has done pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
So that is something which is very good. He's very sincere kind of a cricketer and a very keen learner, if we have to sum it up.
Michael, the thing that came out when we were analyzing the short pitch deliveries and the players that are getting out to it, we saw much more experienced campaigners like Sanju, Samson, the captain Suryakumar, Yadav succumbing to these short deliveries, and you saw somebody like Tilak who was kind of scoring it, behind square on both sides. So I mean, it's also how you utilize what the bowlers are doing and process it and work around it.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the way that he plays. I totally agree that he could be an all-format player because he plays the short stuff so well. He's aggressive. He gets inside the line and he plays that pull shot. He's also got that kind of glance over third and around that backward point region. He hit a 6 over backward point, which was a tremendous strike in one of the first couple of games. You have to find a way as a batter. If you know that something's going to be coming at you, you have to find a way of making sure that you can put the bowlers back under pressure. And you mentioned Sanju, Samson, Suryakumar. He plays that flick, which is a very successful shot for him, where he flicks it over fine leg into the stands on a number of occasions. But it's been his downfall on a couple of occasions in this series. And again, it's just the execution of the stroke. If you know that a bounce is coming or a ball's coming between hip and chest height, you have to work a way of trying to put the bowler under pressure with a pull shot, a cut shot, giving yourself space. Get inside the line to use the pace to flick it over fine, or get in front of it and hit it in front of square on the onside. It's an era where the bouncer and the short stuff is used as an aggressive tool, as a wicket-taking option that you as a batter has to find a way of putting the bowlers back under pressure. So, I mean, Zach will tell you, if you bowl a short ball to a batter and he goes bang and smashes you into the stand, the next time you run up to bowl, you're thinking, oh, can I bowl it short once again? So it's so important as a batter that you have that kind of shot or that ability to hit those short balls into the stand either side of the wicket, because if you can, the bowler then has to pitch it up. And in India, you want the seamers to be pitching it up because there's generally not a huge amount of swing. The pitches are pure, and then you can offer shots down the ground. So then you become a 360 player against quick bowling, which is what the real great players do in T20 cricket.
Yeah, such a good point. You have to make the bowler second guess. And today, you pretty much know what their plan is going to be against Sanju, right?
Yeah.
They would have discussed it for like 30 seconds and everyone would have agreed unanimously, going, that's what we need to do.
It's an open secret, there is no doubt about that. It's about Sanju Samson, how he's adjusting the mental side of things. There's not much of a technical adjustment there because you've seen Sanju Samson take the bowlers on that short pitch. That has been his scoring shot. Yeah. So he's backing himself to go to play that shot, but in the process has been losing wicket. So it's just about finding a way to get through that phase, and then it's things start to roll in your favor.
Yeah,
I think that's what Sanju Samson will be thinking. That's what the discussion must be leading up right now.
Yeah,
that the strategy from English bowlers is very clear. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and he's good enough to combat it. So we hope that he can do that today. And just on Tilak, we're seeing him at number 3 actually has his best numbers. And I know that India's used this whole, or our openers are fixed and then we float everybody from 3 to 8. But these are his numbers at number 3. He's played 29 innings. That average is staggering. The strike rate is staggering. I understand that in T20 cricket, Michael, you want to have that flexibility. Let's say a right-hander gets out. I can send Surya the right-hander, so you still have that right-left combination. But that shouldn't come at the expense of, not optimizing Tilak at a number that he's doing the best at.
Oh, yeah, you're spot on. I mean, you just have to have your quality players. You've got to remember there's 120 balls to face. I think sometimes in this area, so much data and so much information that you can get lost from the basics of the game is who are your best players, and you want your best players to face as many of those 120 balls as you possibly can. And he certainly is in the top few players for India at the minute in this format. Those numbers don't lie. And the reason why he's got those numbers is he's got a game against pace, he's got a game on the front foot, the back foot, and he can hit spin as well. And he's quick between the wickets, and he understands the game in terms of smartness. You only have to look at the way that he got India over the line in that second game. He's got the smartness, he's got the mentality, and he's got the pure game. So I think there's a little bit too much in terms of rejigging the order in T20 cricket. Just get your quality players facing as many of the 120. And if you know what, if they're all left-handers, if they're all right-handers, it's irrelevant. Just get your best players facing those 120 balls.
Yeah, I mean, because you see the England team's playing with no left-handers in the middle, right? So, I mean, they did get across the line in the previous game.
Jacob's back in today.
Jacob's back in. So there you go. They've got the left-hander down at number 6 today, along with Ben Duckett at the top. But Ben Duckett got runs in the previous game. But Michael, another concern is that, the opening partnership is not getting them too many runs. And Phil Salt, after having a dream run for very long, suddenly is at this dry spell in the last 6 games. So he's another guy who'd be hoping to, get some runs today because he's not used to this.
It's very strategic though, GK, because England obviously want Josh Buttler in there early, even though he's not opening. So one of them gets out so he can get in there early. I just think it's T20 cricket. Phil Salt's an aggressor. His job is to completely maximise the power play. He goes out there pretty much from ball one to try and be disruptive and cause a bit of chaos. And he's just going through one of those periods where the ball seems to be going to hand. The problem that Phil has is that there's so much talent within the English game is that once you start having a run of games, we all start going, there's other players that could be taking his position. Josh Buttler could go to the top of the order. Obviously, Jamie Smith is a player that's batted in the middle. He's not playing tonight, but he could go further up the order. And that's why England primarily are a really talented group of players, because I think it keeps them all on their toes. That if you do have 2 or 3 games where you're not scoring, there's a little bit more noise created because there's others that could be taking your place. So I think the next couple of games are big for Phil Salt. He'll want a number or 2, but he'll go out and play exactly the same way. His job and his role is to go and be really disruptive in those first 6 overs. And every now and again, you go through a period where the ball seems to go to hand. I would back him to get through this period. I think he's a really dangerous player, particularly against seam bowlers. I think he can really damage seam bowlers in the power play, and that's his role in the England team.
Just going to quickly touch upon Ravi Bishnoi because Zach's interest as well was part of your IPL team. But do you think that in the last 3 games, now he's played 3 games now, he's just got the 1 wicket. Do you think that England is just basically playing him as a bowler who is just going to turn the ball in? Is that what it is? Or is it because Varun's getting all the wickets, he's putting the pressure, they're not giving a wicket? What do you think is happening? Because Bishnoi is better than this.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. When one spinner is doing so well, then suddenly at times as a spinner, you're trying extra. So that also is a possibility. So that you can't really negate. But in terms of the approach from English batters, they've been looking to dominate no matter what. Even if they're losing wickets, they're looking to really put bowlers under pressure. And in that, when Varun Chakravarti is coming in and then he's among the wickets, then you are trying little extra to get those wickets. And in the process, that rhythm you're not getting into. You've been brought in bowling pretty much very late when the tone is set. You're not in the game early. So, and it's no one's fault, that's just the way game is unfolding. So you got to just stay with that. For Bishnoi, I think it's just about staying calm and focusing on the process is what I feel. He's just getting a little too desperate to get wickets.
That's a good point, though. Michael, that can happen a little bit, right? I mean, because he's a leg spinner. There's Varun playing. Varun's got England tied up in knots. He's getting a whole truckload of wickets. Sometimes as a young player, and he is a young player, you can feel a little kind of weighed under that situation.
Yeah, and I think the point is that Chakravarti at the other end is just bowling. It looks like he's bowling with a different ball. He's getting the ball to do all sorts, and England can't pick him. I get a sense with England that because the right-handers know that Bishnoi generally just kind of angles it in, and it kind of spins in a little bit. They're just playing him like an off-spinner. My advice to England would be to play Chakravarti in a similar sense. Most of the balls are coming back in. He's spinning it a little bit more. He gets a bit more bounce because of his height. But yeah, I guess pressure, desperate for a wicket or two, so you go chasing it. If you look back at the last game, he bowled quite nicely until they gave him the over to Liam Livingston. They hit him for 19 in that 17th, 18th over, which kind of changed the whole game. Liam just got a license to go and whack the ball, and he put him into the stands a few times. Up till that point, I thought he bowled quite nicely. He just got. And in T20 cricket, as a spinner, it doesn't matter how good you are. Every now and again, a player like a Liam Livingston or any of the players on either side, they can get a spinner and put them into the stands a few times. But of all the spinners on show, you're looking at leg spin, Adil Rashid, Chakravarti and Bishnoi. I think Bishnoi looks the one that all the players seem to be able to pick the easiest.
Yeah, I mean, you're also up against Adil Rashid, who's number one in the world. You're up against Varun Chakravarti, who's, like Michael said, he's got the ball on a string. So he's in England's brain. He's got in. He's playing with their minds now. And it'll be interesting to see. So, Zach, as I see it in this game today, there's a few players with demons that they need to sort out, right? Sanju with a short ball. Sky needs to get some runs. Phil Salt with a little. Ravi Bishnoi with his bowling. India probably with their, only two pacers theory. So there's a few little mini battles within the battles going on today.
Harry Brook with his through the gate problem.
Through the gate problem.
No, he's got the fog problem.
The smog problem.
The smog problem. Harry Brook. The good thing about the Pune ground, though, Michael, is that because it's on the outskirts and there's a lot of hills around it, the AQI is pretty low and air is pretty clean. But
Harry will create something. There'll be flies. There'll be something in the air. There'll be some problem.
But in a bilateral series, you'll see these kind of challenges.
Yeah.
So in a ICC tournament, you're not playing the same team twice, thrice. Maybe in the semis and the finals. Sometimes that happens through the league stages, and then you play in the knockout again. But otherwise, in a bilateral series, when you get stuck with someone, you sometimes find it very hard to negate. So I think those are the situations which you're talking about right now, and those battles have already developed in this series.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Such a great point, because you're playing each other. Your AI is training itself, right? So that's the model you're competing against. It's all the data that you keep getting against each other, and you try to get the better of the opposition. Who can do it today? Well, in Pune, it is India who are going to be batting first. Joss Buttler winning the toss. Fourth time lucky for him. So, winning it after losing it thrice has promptly put India into bat. This is happening in Pune. I mean, we did think that Rajkot is going to be high scoring. I thought that pitch did not think the same, like how we thought. What do you think is going to be in Pune today, Zach?
Pune can be high scoring. So we'll have to wait and see how the pitch is. But generally, looking at this format, looking at both the teams' strength being batting, and they've been looking to be fairly aggressive right from the word go. 185, I think, is a safe.
Oh, God, I was thinking exactly that. It's not exactly, I was thinking 183.
Well, you can go higher.
Yeah, I think I will. Michael, will you go high or low? Michael's going to go low, I'm guaranteeing you.
I'm going 195.
Oh, jeez.
Going big.
I think I should go bigger than 200.
Go for it.
I mean, it's not like 18% GST on my guess. I can say whatever I feel like, right? It's tax free. I'm going to hold it for the joy factor question, because I'm thinking whether I want to be optimistic and go 200 plus. I want to stay realistic in the late 170s. But first, the joy factor question. Here it is. Today's question is, how did Paul, Brian, Gavin, John, Andy and Grant make history in 1997?
I think I've got that.
I think I know this.
I don't know this.
They are the rebooted Beatles. We'll bring the question back. We'll just bring the question back because we show you something in that, right? Just bring the question back. Paul, Brian, Gavin, John, Andy, and Grant. So you're also getting this from the last two names, right? Some connection to be made there, Michael?
Yeah. I think something to do with the country that they may have played for.
Okay. Excellent. That's all we'll tell you. Send in your informed guesses, because a lot of you know, we don't. We're not very bright. But do send in your answers. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live, hashtag Joy Factor. These questions can come in on X. All right, before we go, I'm giving you my score guess. 179. I think it's going to be, I think it's just going to be a tad bit tricky, the surface. I think they're not really making, I don't think they're making proper run fest pitches in this series. That's the feeling I'm getting.
Interesting.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think, I haven't seen them in the first three, so that's what I feel. I'll be completely wrong. It could be a 220 game, but we'll find out whether my theory is correct because, hey, it's a 50-50 chance, right? Anyway, there's a 100% chance that you're going to see us at the 50-50 mark, which means at the 10-over mark of India's batting on Cricbuzz Combox, we're going to come and have a look at what's going on. So do join us then. Big thank you to Michael Vaughan and Zaheer Khan. I'm Gaurav Kapur. You are watching Cricbuzz Live. We will see you in a bit. Bye-bye.